Welcome back to my channel. I am back with another Baddies Africa review, so let's just get right into it because a lot went down in this episode and honestly I was at a loss for words. So this episode picks up where the last one left off, where they're in the field after riding the horses, and basically Fania and Diamond have an issue with Natalie because of this live stream she did on Instagram with Summer the night before, and basically Summer got on Natalie's live stream and she was talking negatively about the other girls, and they felt like Natalie shouldn't have never went live with her in the first place, and that she should have, told Summer to be quiet when Summer was talking about the other girls. Now, Natalie didn't necessarily tell Summer to be quiet, but she was muting Summer throughout the live every time Summer would mention one of the other girls' names. And I know she was muting the live stream because I was watching that live stream in real time when they did it, so I know that she was muting her. Honestly, Natalie shouldn't have went live with Summer in the first place because Summer does run her mouth a lot. However, I don't think that she should be held accountable for things that came out of Summer's mouth. But Summer ends up coming over there because she hears them talking about her, and she starts telling Diamond and Fania that she doesn't understand why they're going off on Natalie because Natalie wasn't even saying anything during the live stream. And Diamond chimes in and she tells Natalie that she should be telling Summer not to be throwing drinks in the club, and I'm confused at what Diamond's trying to say because Fania is the one that started throwing things first. She's the one that threw a fan at Lex. Yeah, Summer did not have to retaliate and throw a drink on Fania, but at the end of the day she was trying to have her friends back, and so that's why she threw something at Fania, because Fania threw something first. So I just feel like the girls only want Natalie to put her foot down when it comes to Dolly, Summer, and Lex. I'm telling you, that seems like the only time when they want Natalie to open her mouth and put her foot down about anything is when it comes to them three. But while Summer is in the middle of talking, Fania just comes out of nowhere and she socks Summer right in her face. Like, she definitely caught Summer completely off guard. You can tell by the expression on Summer's face when Fania's fist hit her in the face. I was like, damn, she really snuck that girl. I mean, that's what Fania said that she wanted to do. She said that Summer caught her off guard when she threw the drink in her face the previous night, so she caught her off guard by socking her in the face, so she accomplished what she wanted to accomplish. Now, the two of them start fighting with each other. From the angle that I seen, it looked like a tie. It really didn't look like they were doing much, but they were both swinging on each other. Security was in the way a little bit, so I couldn't fully see this fight. So to me, it kind of looked like it was even. When the fight gets broken up, basically Summer starts explaining herself, saying that the only reason why she threw a drink at Fania in the club is because she saw Fania throw a drink at Lex, but Lex made sure to clarify that it wasn't a drink that got thrown on her by Fania. It was actually a fan, which either way, Fania shouldn't have been throwing anything in the club to begin with. That's why I didn't understand why everybody was jumping down Lex and Summer's throat when Fania's the one who made everything escalate. Because Rolly started talking and she started saying how people need to be held accountable when they start fights at the club, and she was basically talking about Summer and Lex because she definitely wasn't talking to Fania. But I do agree that they should not be fighting inside of the clubs, especially when they're booked to be there, because people won't book them anymore if they're fighting inside of the clubs. I definitely feel like they should be able to compose themselves when they're out. But Rolly basically starts saying that whatever issues that people want to get out, they need to get it out before they go out to the club, and that's when Dolly ended up saying, okay, let's get active then. And Rolly was taken aback and she told Dolly that she can't say let's get active if her hand is injured, and Dolly said that she's gonna fight if somebody runs up on her. And I can understand where Rolly's coming from, because if you're saying that you're on injured reserve, what are you talking about let's get active then if you just said you couldn't get active because your hand is all messed up? But I could also see Dolly's side of things, where if somebody does run up on her, even if she has an injured hand, she's gonna fight back, because at the end of the day, you're not gonna just let somebody beat on you. But so far, nobody has ran up on Dolly, not even Ivory, which I was actually surprised about, because honestly, I feel like if Ivory really wanted to fight Dolly that bad, she would have ran up on her regardless of her hand being wrapped up. So I don't feel like Ivory wanted to fight Dolly as much as she made it seem like she wanted to. I noticed though that a lot of the other girls were trying to get Natalie to be mad at Dolly, Summer, and Lex because of the situation that went down at the club, and Lex did admit that she was talking shit on the microphone when Diamond's song came on. She was singing it really aggressively and she was pointing in the direction of the other girls. But what I'm confused about is why Fania decided to get upset at the things that Lex was saying in the first place, because I was under the impression that she was talking to Scotty and Tavy. That's who she was beefing with that day, so I thought she was talking to them. So for Fania to get upset and turn around and snatch the microphone out of Lex's hand and then throw a fan at her, I felt like Fania was doing too much in that situation. I mean, don't get me wrong, Lex was wrong for getting on the microphone and talking shit on the microphone, but Fania's acting like a victim and as if she did nothing wrong when she's the one who snatched the microphone out of the girl's hand and then threw a fan at her, and she's crying about getting a drink thrown in her face. Like, she is definitely not a victim in this situation. But Fania and Lex are going back and forth, and Fania mentions that Lex asked her a couple of days prior why she wasn't wearing her Baddies chain, and Lex said it was true. She definitely did ask asked Fania why she wasn't wearing her Baddies chain, but she says she only asked her because she was curious because Fania was given the Baddies chain, so she would think that she would wear it out, and she hasn't done that. Which personally, I feel like Fania hasn't worn her Baddies chain out because she doesn't want to get it snatched, just like, you know, Tavy's got snatched by Dolly. She doesn't want the same thing to happen to hers, and that's probably why she hasn't worn it, but I don't think there's an issue with Lex asking her that question either. And Scotty gets involved, and she starts asking Lex why she cares if Fania was wearing her Baddies chain, and it's like, Scotty, see, this is why I don't feel bad for her, and this is why I don't understand why fans baby her so much, because she's constantly inserting herself in all of Lex's conversations with other people, and then when Lex pops off on her, she says Lex is obsessed. That's crazy to me. Scotty's asking Lex why she cares if Fania's wearing her Baddies chain or not, but why does Scotty care if Lex asked Fania why she's not wearing her Baddies chain? Why does Scotty care? Like, that's my thing. If Scotty's not a fighter and she doesn't like Lex, why do you keep on pressing her every time you get the chance to? And then when Lex claps back, everybody says that Lex is this big bad bully that's coming after Scotty, when in this entire episode, Scotty kept inserting herself in Lex's issues with other people. Now, Summer ends up addressing Fania, and she says that she's gonna ice her hand overnight, and then when she wakes up the next morning, she's fighting Fania because Fania snuck her, and Lex makes sure to let Tavy know that they will be fighting another round again, and Tavy starts saying that she hurt Lex's pride because of the fight that they had the previous episode, and I'm confused because Lex didn't lose that fight against Tavy. Tavy couldn't even keep her balance in that fight with Lex. Lex definitely whooped her in that fight, so I'm confused as to why she thinks she hurt Lex's pride. Like, that's kind of confusing to me because from what I saw, Lex whooped her. I'm sorry, she definitely did. So then Natalie turns to Diamond and addresses her and tells Diamond that she doesn't hate her despite the fact that Diamond feels like she does, and Diamond said that she doesn't like Natalie, and Natalie said that she doesn't care. A lot of people don't like her and she still sleeps good at night. I don't understand why these girls tell Natalie that they don't like her. I mean, watch Bad Girls Club. Natalie never cared if the girls liked her or not. Natalie seems to like playing the villain, so she doesn't care if you like her. So honestly, Diamond's wasting her breath, and honestly, this beef between Diamond and Natalie, it has to end, okay? I'm getting tired of it. I don't understand why Diamond wants to keep the beef with Natalie alive. At the end of the day, this is Natalie's show. If she doesn't like Natalie, don't come on the show anymore because Natalie's not going anywhere. So I think it's stupid and pointless to beef with Natalie. At this point, I'm over it. Then Natalie ends up addressing Lex, and she basically tells Lex that she can't get on the microphone and do that anymore because it provoked a fight, and Lex reiterated that, yeah, she was popping it on the microphone, but she was not the one that started things off to get physical. And Natalie says that Lex provoked it, and Lex said, okay, so then somebody finish it, and all the girls were mute. All of them were mute. None of them had anything to say. They pop all that shit about Lex from a distance, but when she calls them out, they sit there and they don't say anything. But Lex starts addressing Fania, and then Fania ends up running up, and the two of them start fighting with each other. They swing a couple of times, and then Lex just grabs Fania and tosses her to the ground. I mean, Fania's face was in the dirt at that point, and Lex was hitting her from the back. Yes, Lex missed some of the hits, but to me, she definitely won that fight. I'm sorry. She had Fania's face in the damn dirt. And then Kay Rican comes out of nowhere, and she snatches up Summer from behind, and the two of them are rolling around in the ground fighting with each other. And Diamond starts yelling that they're fighting in horse poop, okay? They're fighting in horse shit on the ground. Like, that was disgusting. And what's even more disgusting is that when that fight got broken up, Dolly reaches down on the ground, picks up horse shit, and she takes it and she smacks it in Kold Killa's face, and the two of them start fighting, and she was whooping Kold Killa, but I will say it was probably partly because of the fact that she was disgusted that she just got horse shit thrown in her face. Like, that was disgusting. Like, I could not believe that these girls were picking up horse shit with their bare hands and throwing it at each other. That was crazy. I've never seen anything like this before. And then Summer calls out Kay Rican because Kay Rican snuck her from behind, and she takes horse shit and she takes it and she flings it at Kay Rican, and then the two of them start fighting with each other. And I'm not gonna lie, Summer was whooping Kay Rican. She was definitely whooping her, but picking up horse shit, it was just disgusting. I could not believe that they were throwing that shit around. And then security was even running from it. Like, they weren't even trying to protect anybody because they didn't want to get hit with it, and I don't blame them. And then Killa wanted to get back at Dolly, so she's walking around with the horse poop in her damn hand, walking around with it for a long time too, looking for Dolly. I'm like, ew, that's gross. Like, throw it on the ground, like, put it down. She's walking around with the shit in her hand. So then Summer's running forward, and then all of a sudden Kay Rican starts running at, Summer, so they start fighting with each other, and then all of a sudden Dolly comes out of nowhere like a bat out of hell, and she just charges at Kay Rican. And she just mushes Kay Rican right in her face. Like, where the hell did Dolly come from? And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually kind of surprised that Dolly decided that she was gonna get active in this episode after telling Ivory in last week's episode that she couldn't fight because her hand was messed up. But then I will admit that she did have a point that if Ivory really wanted to fight her, she would have ran up on her regardless. But I will say she definitely gave these girls their point when they said that she just didn't want to fight Ivory because now that Ivory's gone, she's back to getting active again. Then Lex is outside of the sprinter and she's calling out Tavy because they both agreed that they were going to fight again, but Tavy seems like she doesn't want to fight this particular day. And so Lex is calling her out because she said that her hand is already injured. She just wants to fight and get it over with so that she can rest her hand. And Scotty just inserts herself in it again, acting like Lex is talking to her when Lex is literally not talking to her. She's talking to Tavy, and it was very clear to me that she was talking to Tavy and not Scotty. So Scotty starts addressing Lex, and Lex is cussing her out, telling her to shut up. And Scotty just keeps talking, and Scotty keeps trying to say that Lex keeps addressing her and putting her name in her mouth, but Lex hasn't addressed Scotty not one time in this episode. Every time Lex and Scotty went back and forth in this episode, it was because Scotty inserted herself in something that Lex had with somebody else. So they finally end up getting Lex on the sprinter, and she's upset because the security hands her a wig that's not hers. They hand her Kold Killa's wig, and Lex's wig is in the other sprinter with Scotty and Tavy and the other girls that don't like her, and Scotty's in the back seat ripping up Lex's wig, literally ripping the wig up. And I'm just like, if she's gonna rip up this wig, I hope she owns up to it, because if you're gonna do something bold like that, you better make sure that you say that you're the one that did it when she confronts you. So Lex gets off the sprinter because she hears the girls on the other sprinter talking about her wig. So she gets off the sprinter and she's trying to go over there, and security is not letting her go to the other sprinter to get her wig. So Lex starts going off crying because security won't let go of her and let her get her stuff. And a lot of people were making it like she was crying just over the wig, but to me she was crying because security won't let go of her to go get her stuff when they're literally on the other sprinter ripping up the girl's wig. Like, it was a $1,200 wig. I don't think you should ever come on a show like this with something that costs that much money, but at the end of the day, if you work hard for your money and you know what it's like to struggle, somebody ripping up something that you paid a lot of money for would definitely piss anybody off. And people are bringing up how she wasn't crying when Dolly and Summer took other people's things and destroyed it, but at the end of the day, she wasn't a part of that. She didn't destroy anybody's things. She didn't take anybody's stuff. So for people to put that out there, to me, that's kind of weird, because you can't hold Lex accountable for something that she didn't do. Now, Natalie, Rolly, and Scotty end up arriving to the baddies' house first before the girls end up arriving, and Natalie says that she canceled their booking at a club because she wants the girls to take a break for the day, and then the next day they will go give back to charity for the children in Africa, which I think is a great idea. So when the baddies finally arrive to the house, Natalie tells them the same thing that she told Rolly and Scotty, which is that they're giving back to charity the next day, and everybody seemed to be excited about it. But Lex ends up questioning Kold Killa, okay? Because she said that she was giving Kold Killa's, wig on the sprinter, but she didn't rip it up. But then she gets her wig back and it's completely destroyed. So she's questioning Kold Killa, and Kold Killa says that she did not rip up Lex's wig, which is true. She did not rip it up. So Lex says, okay, then who did it? And nobody says anything, which to me was kind of scary of Scotty, because everybody likes to call other people scary, but Lex is sitting over there calling out whoever ripped up her wig, and Scotty just sits there quiet. So Lex calls out 4 of them for a fight. She says she wants to fight all of them, 1 round each. And I felt like Scotty could have saved the other girls from having to fight Lex, maybe except for Tavy, but she could have saved some of the other girls from having to fight Lex if she would have owned up to the fact that she was the one that ripped up the wig. If you're bold enough to rip it up, just say you did it. And to me, that was scary on Scotty's part, because if she ripped up that girl's wig, she should have stood up and said that she did it and took whatever fade Lex was going to give her. But those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Baddies Africa. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video.